Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Live from the Kinar in Tveria on the Kinneret. What a Shabbos, what a Shabbos. Be'emes. Tremendous chizuk. I want to give thanks to the Anonimi for Shleima for Yonatan Eitan Ben Bashav Bracha, who spent Shabbos with us, and he's here this morning in the Beis Medrash. V'Yosef Chaim Ben Dvar Chai Golda by Adar Global, and L'Schus V'Atzachos Kol HaYiladim B'Shana Krova B'Sheva Shel Parnasa. It is Horayos, but this was a moving email. When I read it, I cried to myself. This is long; it does not have to be read, but wanted you to know how Daf is changing families. As I wrote to you previously, I was diagnosed with a very bad machla and prognosis last year. Last February 2024, my son, who was 12 at the time, came home and said, "Dad, want to learn Daf Yomi with me?" And I said, "What do you know about Daf Yomi?" And he said, "A few kids on the bus do it." And there's a WhatsApp group with some of the Rebbeim. This is the community modern Orthodox yeshiva that had 14 kids to do makis. I said, embarrassingly, I'm an anchor, not a chavrusa, and dropped out of 2 cycles already. Don't let me hold you back. After some back and forth, he said, I can wait until Sanhedrin. I don't know what that means. He unfortunately, last summer, caused a sleepaway camp, but picked up right. Oh, he said he can't wait until Sanhedrin because he started right away. He got other friends and me to join Sanhedrin. He asked my in-laws for his bar mitzvah gift to get him an art scroll shas. Many nights, there's pictures of him, you'll see soon. Many nights we did it together. But the nights we didn't, before he went to bed, he would ask if I did the daf, and if I said no, he would say to me, did you find time to go on your phone? And how many hours did you spend on it? He wasn't wrong. Unfortunately, I fell out and said I would catch up, and he always said, try to listen to Rebelli, just start again with today's daf. Of course, I know more than a 13-year-old, but I proved myself wrong. My son and his best friend, Eitan, finished Shavuos with Daf, the third Masech on June 19th, the night of their 8th grade graduation. And Eitan was the valedictorian, so the valedictorian speech from the 8th grader included a shout-out to MDY and a Hadran. Wow. Before the summer, he made me promise we would start out by the Zar together. The first day was a Friday. I was in NYU hospital for a bunch of appointments all day and got back a little before Shabbos. My son said by dinner, did you do the Daf? I said, no. He said, you can't miss day one. I said, I'm falling on my face and exhausted. If I open the daf, I'll fall asleep. He looked at me and said, let's bench, then come to my room. The Shabbos lamp is on. I already watched the shir, and you lay in my bed, and I'll get an art scroll and read it and explain it to you until you fall asleep. We made it through the whole daf in about an hour with lively discussion, and then I fell asleep. The next morning during davening, I was covered in tears, asking Hashem, why I deserve kids like this? Even while I typed this, tears are falling. My wife told my son, don't worry. When you leave for camp, I'll watch with daddy every day until you come back. This past summer, my son said he'll not fall back over the summer, and he brought the art school and donated 4 brand new iPads and cases and headphones for the camp, for the Beis Medrash, with all the daf on them. Unfortunately, my son came home early due to needing surgery on his foot. Camp, And even on crutches and 5 days in the hospital, we never missed a daf. His Hebrew name is Hill, and I made fun of him. He was learning the daf on 1 foot with his crutches and knee on scooter. Maybe it's like the hill, that's what he means? Torah regalachas. Ariel is here. What are you telling me Ariel is not here? You just have to hear him. You don't have to know where he is. Okay, so he says like this. We watch in the car as a family. Some days we watch over dinner, many nights. We watch on the boat. We watch on the couch. We watch in bed. We invited all of West Hempstead, MDY, for a watch party and a see-him dinner. There's a picture. He gives my 2 other sons, 12 and 10, to do Horayos. And today, when I came home from chemo, the 2 of them, after the first day of school, were on the couch watching Daf Beis. So much more I would love to share with you. Attached are a few pictures, including one sent to me from the assistant director of camp who caught my son learning at 1 a.m. after a full day trip. His goal for the last 2 years has been to go to the live stream Bet Shemesh, but because of transplant list restrictions. But I promised him, as long as the next time we go to Israel, I am a passenger in the cabin and not in cargo, we will go to the Kotel and then to the Shir. Wow. On behalf of Hunter, Hill David, Zelton's dad, his friend doing the daf, Eitan, the Tan Al Kobe Israel, Dani, and our whole family, thank you. Here he is, this tzaddik. Look at this. Doing the daf at 1 a.m. And here's, no, not that one. There's another picture. Oh, didn't make it in, Kobe. Okay. There's another picture. Well, meanwhile, I'll show Kobe working here all night. This is in the hotel. Okay. All right. Given a good Shabbos. It was good. Wonderful Shabbos. Givaldi. Thank you for coming all the way from America. I want to stop the Bas Mitzvah also. But listen, we know why you really came. And Shemi Braun all the way from America. Mark Ashkenazi all the way from America, but he has to come. Listen, he's unpaid staff. Unpaid staff have to pay for the flights and come. What do you mean? That's the way it works.
Yossi Klein also came from.
Oh, really? Chiddush. The Baal Simcha himself, he came. All right. The Masechta is sponsored by David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Yomi. I try to only read one email. It's already 8 minutes into the shir. What's going on here? Dedicated in memory of Yomi, Shmuel Baruch Ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Doiv. The Masechta is sponsored anonymous. That's toch Baruch Nizbegash V'Zchus Achinu B'nai Yisrael. Joel Gedalis Lilin Shos my father Jack Gedalius. Co-sponsors monthly anonymous from London. Batzlocha B'Parnas Amen. Weekly anonymous. Schut before Shlema for Shlomo Ben Yamin. Halevi Ben Rivka. No better way to ask for it. Baruch Hashem. Monthly sponsors TCS Israel Power. We're talking to anonymous. Before Shlema. Sorry about Mother Ram and Shir about Sarah. Aaron Kessler in honor of the marriage of my son and my daughter. Am I relocating to Eden Gardens in Orlando, Florida? Daily sponsors Joe and Galia Berry, celebrating our 47th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov. Who came over to us? Whose celebration was it? 50, 60? Who was it? Where is he? Did he really? He came to us? I thought I saw him this morning. Not here? What? 60th anniversary, right? Somebody celebrated. Rabbi Yitzchak celebrated 60th anniversary of the Shabbos. Got him a cake, the whole thing. Shlomi and Chani Klein, in honor of the wedding of our dear children Zalmi and Rachel, Shizku Livnois Bais Nam Yisrael. Anonymous, celebrating my parents' 51st anniversary. L'schus Avi, Rav Shmai Tzvi Ben Gittel, V'imi Chayrifko Bas Rachaleya. Many, many more. Langi Yorin, anonymous, in honor of Rebellion and Moshe Einhorn. I learned 7 blot Shabbos afternoon. Unbelievable. Thank you. Everyway art. Monthly Refuah Shlema of Yonatan Eitan Ben Beshav Bracha. Refuah Shlema Mordechai Ben Esther. Refuah Sayela. Now that we say that there's a little bit of a different meaning. Refuah Sayela Daniel Zev Ben Ayelet Esther.
It's the famous Shlomi Klein.
Who?
Simcha that you announced.
Shlomi Klein.
From Cronites.
Where? Where do you see that?
Marrying off his kids.
Shlomi and Chani Klein.
Yeah.
Famous.
Thank you for telling me. It didn't say Shlomi Klein. It said Shlomi and Chani Klein. I was thrown off. In honor of the wedding of our dear children Zalmi and Rachel, Sheyizku Livnois Bayis Nem Yisrael Amen. Shlomi Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Shkoyach. Thank you for. I mean, when I know the face now, I was just reading.
The picture of Zeitlin by the seal, the boys.
That was missing.
From
Hampstead. Yeah, let me go back.
Right after turn the down. It'll come soon.
Oh, okay. It's not in there yet. That's interesting. I see something. To be continued. Rabbi, so here we go. 15 lines from the bottom. Who did I skip?
Gershel Mandel and Leiba.
What do you mean?
The bottom, Chani and Shlomi.
No. I went back to read it. Ibaylu. What did I say? 20 lines from the bottom? I don't even remember. 18 lines. Ibaylu. They said Tashma. Ibaylu. Shevet echad she'asa b'Iraz bezdin hagadol. So, just to refresh everybody's memory, today is more of a Geshmak Daf. Yesterday was slightly dry, on the dry side, I would say. We had a 3-way machlokes. How many karbanos do you bring when Klal Yisrael does an Aveira? According to Rameir, only 1. Provided he has a few rules, but If most of the Shvatim do the Aveira and most of the community does the Aveira, then you bring only one. Rabbi Yehuda says you bring one for each Shevet, and Rabbi Shimon says you bring one for each Shevet plus one for the Bezdin. In general. Ivoilu. Shevet Echad Shasek Bayraz Bezdin Agadol. Going in Rabbi Shimon, when Rabbi Shimon says that in addition to all the Shvatim bringing a carbon, the Bezdin also brings a carbon, but we're talking about in the Mishnah, if the local Bezdin tells them, what happens if the Sanhedrin paskins to do an Aveira, you could do an Aveira, and only one out of the 12 Shvatim does the Aveira. What's the halacha? L'Reb Shimon mimaisi aloi, do you bring a carbon or not? Tashma, mahi mevim. Now this is a riddle. What is the case exactly? What do they bring? In what case? I don't know. We could figure it out ourselves maybe. They bring par echad, Reb Shimon omer shnei parim. Reb Shimon says 2. Now what in the world is going on here? Think about it. Look at this list over here. It says if 7 Shvatim did an Aveira, every single Shevet brings, that means 12 plus 1 equals how many? 13. Over here it says Reb Shimon omer shnei parim. How do you get from 13 to 2? What happened? L'chayra means that only one Shevet did the Aveira, and that's how you get to 2. One Shevet plus the Bezdin equals 2. Shnei parim, asks the Gemara, shmoina boy. If 7 did an Aveira, then it equals 8. 7 Shvatim plus the Bezdin has to bring 1, that's 8. Elo dechad Shevet echad. The Gemara does a simple calculation. Must be, it's only one Shevet. Umay. Now, why did they do an Aveira? Did the local Bezdin tell them to do the Aveira, or Sanhedrin said? If it's Bezdin, the local, Shimon Leslie, he doesn't hold to that. That we discussed yesterday. We already established. According to Shimon, local Bezdin doesn't do anything. You need Sanhedrin Agadol. Elo beraz Bezdin Agadol. Okay, so we have the Bezdin Agadol. V'tizber Tanakama Mani, and who's the Tanakama? Who says 1? Reb Meir is 1, right? Look at the chart. Reb Meir holds 1, but Reb Meir says you need Roiv Kahal, Roiv Shvatim. By the way, you cannot sit in front of me and play on your phone. That's one of the rules. If I didn't say it yet, it just became one. V'tizbara, thank you. V'tizbara, Tanakama Mani, and by the way, you cannot, if you can't sit in front, make a kavachaymer. Here, simple kavachaymer. If you cannot sit in front of Eli Stefansky and play on your phone, so you can't sit in front of the Rebbeinu Shalom and play on your phone. I just felt it. It feels very, very not nice. Guys going like this, like Kilu, you're a nothing, and my phone is more important than you. That's what it felt to me. Imagine what it feels to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Elul. Sorry for the Moser. I didn't want to be insulted. Huh?
I'm insulted at everyone.
Oh, I have my own. I'm going to write to you. I'm insulted. I don't know where to write it to, but okay. Says the Gemara. It's worse than the guy, well, maybe not. That guy that does Shnai Mikra in front of the guy that gives a speech Friday night, I don't like him. It's not nice. The guy spends so much time preparing. He goes in front of a mirror, back and forth, does the whole thing. He finally gets to shul, he's all proud. Just like, okay, whatever. It's in everybody's shul, just my shul, huh?
What's worse, or
Sleep?
sleeping?
I don't know. They're both. One has been mazed, one has been shaking. I have no idea where I am. Have a wonderful. Wow. Okay. Look what you did. Look what you just did. Fine. Next. No, because during the day nobody's in front of me. They're on the side. So sometimes they're on the phone. It's not. It's like in front. You know what I'm saying? Where are we? Oh, Homani. Ireb Meir Haruba Boy. Again, simple stuff. I know that it looks confusing, but there was the whole daf yesterday. According to Reb Meir, you bring only one carbon on condition that you have some sort of majority. One shevet is not a majority, so it can't be talking about according to Reb Meir. Rabbi Yehuda, Shvatim Nami Maisi. Rabbi Yehuda holds, okay, you could bring if one, but all of the Shvatim at the end of the day are going to have to bring a carbon. You never end up with one according to Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Because a greater. Remember, one does the Aveira, but everybody has to be Mishtatev also. So Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. So it must be Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar that who argues. According to him, you only bring one. Look at the Sanya, like we learned. Fine. So according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, one. According to Rabbi Shimon, two. Tashma. According to Chachamim, at the end of the Mishnah, only if there's a psak from the Sanhedrin. It can't be a Remeir because Remeir holds you need most of the Shvat and most of the Kahal. Rabbi Shimon you see Rabbi Shimon holds one Shevet brings a carbon. One carbon. Or actually two, he says. Two. One for the Bezdin and for the Shevet. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Shevet Echad Ikri Kahamin Olu. How do we know that you bring for one Shevet, you bring for 7 Shvatim? It must be that each Shevet is called a Kahal. Amri, you see that Yehuda is called a Kahal. One Shevet is a Kahal. Rabbi, so where's that air conditioner? I think we need the air conditioner. No? Whoever, they turned it off for me, but now I'm starting to get a shtickle. Oh no, and then you probably have to turn this vent off, whatever. Who turned it off?
Turn it back on.
The whole thing is on. It has 4 vents, but one is pointing. Okay, leave it like this. I'll tell you when it gets too cold.
This one on the side here?
Yeah, it just got too cold. No, this one right over here. Just step on the thing, please. This one, just push it up. Oh, that's it. Perfect. Shkoyach. Rabbi say Avi Kamiansky. Shkoyach. He made it. Seriously, look. I'll say this. Avi, you supported the Shabbos, so you don't know. You'll never know what kind of chizik you gave people. There was people, I saw with my own eyes, people with tears rolling down their face. I saw young people and I saw older people. I saw a guy in his 80s, tears coming down his face. Bemis. So nobody's going to come to you and say, oh, thank you for the tears and the chizuk and this. But I'm telling you, you don't know what chizuk. Chizuk for the whole year. So it says that one Shevet Yehuda is called the Kahal. HaChadasha, Yerushalayim, and the new Yerushalayim. My Chadasha, Omer B'Yechanan, Shechitru Dvarim, V'Amru Tul Yoy, Mal Yikonis B'Machne Leviyah. What's Chadasha doesn't mean new. Chadasha is the Miloshan of a Chidush, a new concept. A what? A Tful Yoy. What's a Tful Yoy? Somebody who was toivel in the mikvah, and it still has to wait until nightfall in order to be completely tar. Al Yikonis B'Machne Leviyah. So first of all, what's Machne Leviyah? Don't come into here. So there's 3 camps. The Machne Shechina is the Beis Hamikdash. Machne Leviyah is the whole Har HaBayis, and then you have Machne Yisrael, which is Yerushalayim. In our case specifically, although it's not really mentioned, it's not so much referring. I think the article says it means the whole Har HaBayis. My Chavrusa Tain is that it's more like the Ezras Noshim, I think. Okay. Whatever. I go with the art scroll. It's safer. Although he edited our English Gemara, the final edit, so. How do you know that Kahal means one? Because of Yehuda, if it's already talking about Yerushalayim has 2. It has Yehuda and Binyamin. So perhaps Kahal means 2. So just remember that, put that in your memory for 10 seconds, that a Kahal means minimal 2. Maybe 1, but 2. What? Fine, but it doesn't mean 10. You can have a Kahal that means maximum 2, minimum, maybe 1, maybe 2. Huh? Of Kahal, what, in general or over here? Okay, yeah, we're not going into that. We're not talking about a rabbi here. He stuck that in. I'm going to make you into Kahal Amim. I'm going to make you into a nation. Who is he referring to? Binyamin. So you see that one shevet. Binyamin it's considered kahal. Shema mino achkam rachman. This is what the Torah meant. Hashem meant. Misad lo chashta kahal achrina. Now you can have a new nation. Amalei Rav Shabbos Rav Kahana Dilmach Yakom Rachman. This is what the Torah meant. Misad lo Binyamin. When Binyamin will be born, who the Havishnei Moses Shvatim in Karis Kahal. Hashem is telling him you're going to have shevet Binyamin. And what's going to happen? Then you'll be a nation. Asking Gemara Malay El Shnei Moses Shvatim Ikru Kahal Chadas Shvatim Lo Ikru Kahal. We just established that a kahal is one, maybe two. So how are you telling me that Hashem meant that if you have 12, then you're going to be a nation? Even 2 is a nation. What 12? When the Levim start the avodah, they bring 2 cows, one as a chadas, one for Ariel. To teach me that you have to bring 2. There's another pasuk. One is a chadas. So why does the Torah have to repeat upar sheni ben bakar, the second one? Take 2. Now there's a rule. Some of you were here last night, so you know the rule. So don't cheat. There's a rule. When you have a chatas, typically the kohanim eat from it. Part of it goes in the mizbech, part of it they eat. How do you know if a chatas can be eaten or not? So you look at where you spray the blood. If you spray the blood inside means in the heichal, in the tall structure with the menorah, with the shulchan, and there's a mizbech over there, mizbech haktoyers. If you sprinkle the blood over there, then you know you don't eat it. And if you sprinkle the blood on the regular mizbech, then you know you do eat it. Above the red line, then you eat it. These parim that the Levim bring, you sprinkle the blood outside on the mizbeach hachitzon, which means that what? You could eat it. How do I know in this particular case you cannot eat it? That's the Gemara's kash. I'm just explaining what the Gemara's kash is. L'chari should be able to eat it because if you go by the rules, this is the type of chadas you should be able to eat. El yochdel necheles chadas Levim. Find a line on Amud Beis. Tam eloimar parsheni. Sheni lo'ila. It's second to oila. In other words, it's like an oila. Ma'oila lo necheles. Davav Amud Aleph. Av chatas lo necheles. This bull that should be eaten, special halacha now, you don't eat it. Kayetze b'yomar Rebbe Yosi. Haboy mashvi hagoyle krivu oilos lelekei Yisrael parim shnei masar. Let's see where the pasuk is. Here we go. We're going to be using this pasuk a little bit, not too much, but it's kedai to get familiar with it. Laila tov kol b'yishkoyach. Eilin tisha v'shisha kvasim shiva v'shiva. 96 and 77. And it says, Hakoil oila. Should have had it in the pasuk, but all the way at the end it says Hakoil. Everything's oila. Ask the Gemara, what do you mean everything's oila? These are chatas also. It's like it has halacha of oila. The famous halacha of oila, ma oila lo necheles. Nobody touches oila. It's kol Hashem. The whole thing goes to Hashem. Chatas lo necheles. These particular chatos are not eaten. The reason why you don't eat it, the Gemara gives us a little pshat over here, because what does it come to atone? What does it come to be mechaper? It comes to be mechaper for avodah zarah. So avodah zarah is something we don't touch. Just leave it on the mizbeach and Shalom Yisrael. What avodah zarah? 70 years ago, when Klal Yisrael, by the first Churban, they did avodah zarah in Tzidkiyahu's days, we're coming to be mechaper the avodah zarah. So we have a very nice discussion here. 70 years ago. That means we're not being mechaper for a 1-year-old that did avodah zarah 70 years ago. We're being mechaper for who? For someone who's at least bar mitzvah. Total of 83-year-olds. That's the minimum. The minimum of that generation was somebody who was 13 years old, so he's 83 years old today. No, but more likely, who's 25 years old, and Memela, he is more like 95, 97, 100. Kids are not really around. Very, very simple cheshbon. Everybody remembers the 3 shitas? According to Meir, how many parim do you bring if there's a Klal Yisrael is a big aveiro? Because Bezin told him, how many parim do you bring? According to Meir, Rabbi Isai, 1. According to Rabbi Yehuda, all the shvatim did the aveiro. How many chatayis do you bring? 12. According to Reb Shimon, 13. It's 12 plus 1. So let's go. What's the cheshbon here? How in the world did they bring 96? How do you get to 96? 77, 96. These are crazy numbers. We don't have 96 shvatim. If it's 12 shvatim, 12 karbanas. What's 96? Oh. Says the Gemara, well, wait a minute. Maybe I jumped a little bit. Wait for that for a second. How do you get to 12? You go into 12 shvatim, the Avera, you bring 12. The Ma'aseh Shnei Maseh Sirim. Inami, the Chodesh Shiva shvatim, or 7 did the Avera. Ushar Einach Begrira. Review the holds a Greira that if even 7 did the Avera, all 12 have to bring. According to Reb Shimon, it must be, how do you get to 12? According to Reb Shimon? According to Reb Shimon, how do you get to 8? 7 plus 1. How do you get to 12? 11 plus 1. Not 12 plus 1, 11 plus 1. That's how you get to 12. According to Rameir, only one. How do you get to 12? Says the Gemara, you're going to Chatu. They did 12 Averis. A little silly, but if you don't know what it looks like, something like this. We're talking about Sirim. And then he does tshuva. I don't know why, but okay. I guess he had to break the... What is that, a meme? What's it called when it keeps on going on a reel? A GIF. Oh, it keeps... So he brings a lot of karbanos with him, I hear. Okay. Atres Zimni. He did it 12 times. Just ask the Gemara, but all the generation of Tzidkiyo, these people are dead already. It was 70 years ago. The youngest, the baby, was 13 years old then. They're not around anymore. You're right. Let's say they're dead. But you could still bring a chatos for a person who's dead if it's part of a tzibur. Why? Because we're going to see in a second, but it's kedai to be... You guys remember the simon of all the chatois that die? The 5 chatois that die, what is it? You know? V'timna. V'timna, Pseder, close enough. Simna and timna. V'timna. So Vlad chatos, let's go over quickly. The chatos is offspring. So if a female chatos, they're usually female, the female chatos got pregnant after she's a chatos, so her offspring is not allowed to be a chatos, and it can't be regular chulin, so Mela dies. Tmuras chatos, if you do a switcheroo, you designated one animal as a chatos, then you took another one and you made that a chatos, dies. Chatos shemesu b'oleh, and if this is the one we're looking for. Chatos shemesu b'oleh, if the owner dies before he's able to bring it as a carbon, that carbon can no longer be brought, it must die. So over here, if Klal Yisrael died from the generation of Tzidkiyah, they're no longer alive, how do you bring it? The answer is because it's a tzibur. It's for the community. If the community brings, they could all die and we still bring their carbon. Listen to this lashon. Lefi she'ein misa b'tzibur. I see it looks like that's how we paskin. There's no death for the community. Even though it happened hundreds of years ago, 3,000, there's no death for the community. How do we know this idea? Because it says in the pasuk that the children should be instead of their father. It doesn't say in the pasuk anything about a tzibur. This could be referring to also an individual. So based on this, if an individual dies after he designated a carbon chatas, the child should bring the carbon chatas. Perhaps he learns it from Rish Chodesh. Torah says, who pays for the soyer, the carbon of Rish Chodesh? The communal fund, the maxis shekel that we bring 3 times a year in the Beis Hamikdash, we take from that and we designate it for the Tamid, and in this case for the Rish Chodesh carbon. new. So who paid for it? All of Klal Yisrael. So some of the people died right before Rosh Chodesh. And it comes out that you're bringing a carbon from somebody that's dead. One of the partners is no longer alive. So it's a raya that a community could bring a carbon even when people die. The people that are left over, how do they bring this carbon? You see from here that you could bring a carbon tzibur even though the owners are no longer with us. Says the Gemara, midami. What's the raya? Perhaps nobody died. There's no force to say that people died. You can't bring a raya from there. Maybe nobody died. But over here in the generation of Tzkiyo, they definitely are no longer alive. At least a lot of them aren't. At least one of them, yeah. In a span of 70 years, somebody must have died. In 70 years. Forget about 70 days. 70 years. Somebody died. A lot of people died. Most of them died. Maybe all of them died. Hello, this is Moira Dig. Rabbi, I was waiting the whole shir for this line right over here. It says in the pasuk, Kaper la'amcha Yisrael shepodiso Hashem. When we find a body between two cities, we do the Egla Rufa process and we measure, the best of measures. The one that's closest has to bring the calf and they chop, and they say these psukim. They say, Kaper la'amcha Yisrael, give a kapara to Klal Yisrael, asher podiso Hashem, one that you 3,337 you did Yitzias Mitzrayim. And listen to this. The Gemara says, Ru'iya kapara zu shetechaper al yoytze Mitzrayim. This kapara that we're doing here with the Egla Rufa is a kapara for those who came out of Mitzrayim. Midachsiv asher podisa. So in fact, the Amud Beis says from over here, there's a source for Yizkar, because it's problematic. How in the world does a child of a deceased, and it's like something that Klal Yisrael is very makbid on. Even people are not so affiliated, they come to shul for Yizkar, it's a big thing. Even affiliated people, women come to shul for Yizkar. You know, they won't come the whole year, but Yizkar, chas v'shalom to miss Yizkar. So what's the idea? We know that you have to accomplish in this world. So what good is it if your son does a little tzedakah, says a little Eli Neshama? That's a big thing. What about it's all over, no? So he says, you see from here, Kaper L'Amcha Yisrael, you could do a kapara on Yoytze Mitzrayim. They died 3,000 years ago, and you're still doing a kapara for them. What's the difference? How are you going to give a kapara? Adarab, fakir. On the kahal, you're going to give a kapara. They're no longer alive. For an individual, maybe I could give a kapara. For the whole tzibur, I don't know. So he says like this. I saw a beautiful pshat from Rebbe Leo Diskin based on the Rebbe Yisrael Salanter. And it's very negay to us also. Negay to us in a number of ways. First of all, it's Erev Rosh Hashanah. But in general, the daf thing, I think it's very powerful. He asks a kasha, how do you, on Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah, we say we open up the Sifrei Chaim and the Sifrei Mesim. What does it mean to open up Sifrei Mesim? On Rosh Hashanah, you open up the book of the dead, it's over. When a person dies, there's a whole din Torah, and they ask you, Kavati Tilum Torah, and how did you do business, and how this and that. And it's over, finished. Then the neshama goes and gets whatever it gets, and that's it. What are you reopening on Rosh Hashanah? Why? What did you gain? What happened in that year that you need to re-evaluate the book? And he says, Moira Deg, Yisrael Salanter, that you reopen the book because your children have ashpa and you're in a neshama. What you accomplish in this world is constantly updated. How are your children acting after you die? If they learn Torah and they do mitzvahs, then you get awarded for that because you had a positive influence on your children. And if chas v'shalom the opposite, they have to reevaluate. It's unbelievable. They say that Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, he opened up the Musar, he started doing the Musar because he was shocked. One time he was at a wedding, And the Baal Simcha used to be a shoemaker who became very wealthy. And one of the participants at the wedding was a very jealous person. You know how jealous people are. There's no cure for jealousy. They do things, irrational things. Like they don't even know themselves why they do it. They get jealous, and they say and they do. And in the middle of the chuppah, he grabs his shoe, he runs over to the chuppah, and he screams to the Baal Simcha. He says, "Hey, how much does it cost to repair this shoe?" This guy is a wealthy guy. He's a mechubed. He's this. He was so shocked at his daughter's wedding, he fell in front of everybody and died from a heart attack. It hurt him so much, the busha. So Yisrael Salanda said, how does a guy act like this? How does a guy ruin somebody's wedding? Forget that. I don't know if he knew he's going to die. I'm sure he didn't. But how do you have a chutzpah in the middle of a wedding to say something like that? He says, we gotta teach Musar. And I heard that they said that the Hasidim started their thing because not for the Sandler guy, but for the Baal Simcha. How do you get so insulted when for Keret, you're supposed to take the shoe and embrace it and say, wow, somebody embarrassed me like that. Akopanim, listen to this. Most of you in this room have brought at least one person to Torah. So when they open up that Sifrei Mesim, Lacher Mei V'Esrim, they open it up. They say, look, these are your Talmidim, these are your Tzetzoyim. They're still going. You're Noel Mamas, but it's not just your children. It's all the hashpah that you had in this world, and if you have at hashpah another two people, and those people bring another people, you could have 400. You yourself can have 400,000 at side. That's the Panovich math, you know. Yeah, all the generations, the future generations, right? Rovei the Schosim. Rabbi Yisrael Salanta said it over there. I just missed that Nekuda. He says we got to open up and see who this guy's great-great-grandfather was 300 years ago. Because something that great-grandfather did and acted had a shpah on his great-grandson 300 years later, and that's the vart with the Yotzim Mitzrayim. The reason why there's a dead person here between the two cities is because of how our forefathers acted 3,500 years ago. That's why Kaper la'amcha Yisrael shepadiso Hashem. They need a kapara, and we're going to try to make something happen for them, even though it's 3,000 years ago. Says the Gemara Midami. What's the connection? Hasa by Egla Rufa Kulu Yisinun. All the people from the Bezin are standing there. You have the Dayanim. They're all alive, obviously. If they're not alive, they can't be standing. And listen to this. There's a migui, a certain type of migui. How does it work? Migui the mechapra chayim. Since this Egla Rufa works on these people that are alive, standing here, saying these psukim asher padisa Hashem kaper lamcha. So therefore it has the power to work on the dead. But in our sugya, by tzitkiya, who says this single individual that's alive? Maybe that whole generation is dead. And if the whole generation is dead, then there's nobody to do the migui. You need at least somebody that's alive that the kapara works for him, and therefore it will also work for somebody else. But if you have no one that's working on the live, so how can it work on the dead? Says Gemara Eino Chanami. So we must say that some of them were alive. It's not so far-fetched. Listen, we have people that went through the Shoah that are still alive today. And that was more than 70 years ago. And they went through it. They weren't 1 year old. So you could have a 95-year-old, a 105-year-old. There's people like that. Okay, Eino Chanami. There are people from Tzidki's generation that survived the 70 years of the Churba. The Chsiv, and in fact, I'm not guessing it. It says Mefurish in the Pasuk, says the Gemara. Look at the Pasuk. They come back. They saw Asheros Abayis Harisha and they witnessed the first. I think when I was a kid, I discussed this already. I think when I was younger, I'm pretty sure I remember people that saw the Chavetz Chaim. This is my father would say, look, that guy met the Chavetz Chaim. Wow, and he'd speak to him. Tell me one thing. No, I don't think they're alive anymore because that was what? Oh, your grandfather. Yeah, your father drove the Chavetz Chaim. Yeah, you saw your grandfather. Drove him by the Knesset, right? Yeah, the last one just passed away. He remembered the Chavetz Chaim. That's it, but that's it. It's over. So, but listen to this. It says in the Pasuk, So those who remember it was a very weird situation. If we see the camera on the tzibur, and there's some of them that are laughing hysterically with excitement. I'm saying like a simcha g'dola ad moed, like yesterday during the dancing and everything. And there's those that are sitting there bawling. So what's going on? The ones that are crying remember the first Beis Hamikdash, and the new generation, the youngsters, have no clue. Yeah, like you speak to a 25-year-old, they don't know what September 11th is. They don't know. They have no idea what September 11th is. They might have heard about it once. They didn't go through that. If you were around then, whoever's old enough, no? It was 9/11, September 11th. What?
This week, Thursday.
Oh, it's this week. All I remember, I was pretty depressed for months. Months to see that go down. A New Yorker, you see those towers go down. It was so depressing for months. So those who remember, the new generation, they couldn't care less. Yeah, I heard, it's a history. It's a brand new Beis Hamikdash. Wow, we're going to bring karbanas. So they were laughing, they were enjoying. But Akopanim is even in the pasuk, what? That the other generation was there. They were there. There were those that were crying. That means they survived all the way to the new Beis Hamikdash. Says Gemara, okay, they were there. But maybe they were the minority. So they shouldn't be bringing karbanas then. No. No. The ones that were crying, their sound was greater than the ones that were laughing. In other words, they were a rive. There were a lot. Says Gemara, okay, but anyway, when they did Avodah Zarah, they were doing it on purpose. What do you bring a carbon for Avodah Zarah when you do something on purpose? You don't bring a carbon chatas for a mezid. Says the Gemara, but it was a special halacha that Hashem said just for that moment, for that day, that if you did Avodah Zarah b'mezid, bring a carbon chatas and you'll get a kapara. You'll get a kapara. And I'll prove it to you, because if not so, how do you get to the 96? How do you get to 77? Says the Vilna Gaon, 96 I could get to, very easy. It's the 12 Shvatim times 8. It's multiplied by 12. It works very nicely. But 77 is the raya. Where do you get to 77? That's an odd number. Yeah, I could say each Shevet brought 8 karbanos for the Avodah Zarah they brought. Makes sense. 12 times 8. Why 8? Kacha. It's a L'Shem, the Zeicher Chanukah that's going to happen in the future. I don't know what. But at least it has something to do with the Shvatim. But how does 77 connect here? So Elamai, Eloi Rashoy, so obviously it was a one-time deal. We don't understand why the number. It was a one-time exception that you can bring these karbanos and you'll have a kapara. Also, one of these riddles, one person from the tzibur dies, you keep on going with the parallel davar. But if one of the 71 of the bezin dies, no parallel davar. Mantana, who's the author of this? Omarav, Givaldik, you got a bunch of freebie. Rebbe Meir he. It must be Rebbe Meir. Domar bezin mevim veloy tzibur. Oh, he holds you only bring one carbon for the whole tzibur, and who brings it? The bezdin. So one guy from the community dies. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's not. He doesn't bring it anyway. The bezdin brings it. The whole bezdin is this. He bring it. Oh, but since the bezdin has to bring the carbon, 71 people bring it. Pturim. What's the pshat? Why would they be patur? You get it? We have a halacha that if one of the people that brings a carbon, if you designate a carbon chatas and the person dies, you don't bring the carbon. Over here, the bezdin designated a carbon chatas, 71 people. One of the 71 people died. He's one of the partners. You can't bring it anymore. Why do you have to say that it goes according to Rebbe Meir? Say it goes according to Rebbe Shimon. Why? That he says the combination, there's 2 karbanas, one for the shevet and one for the bezdin. But if one of the people of the tzibur dies, you keep on bringing the carbon. Why? Because we already established in tzibur mason. There was an aleph over there. That's the halacha. We don't consider a death of the community. But if one of the 71 dies, pturim, why? He just said, the chadash shoot for me. It's a partnership, and if one of the partners dies, You don't bring it. Wait a minute, it doesn't work. Because Reb Shimon himself holds that if one of the partners dies, you keep on bringing it. So Mela, Bezin would have to keep on bringing it. Says the Gemara. And I'll prove the sign is Par v'sar sheyom kippurim she'avdu. V'ivir shachem dachteim. Oh, here's the case. Let's see. Right over here. They designated 2 korbanos, and then they ran away. He's very sad. Look at those rings in the floor. There's a lot of detail over there. Oh, anyway, so they got new ones. And then they shut in the new ones. And finally, they found old ones. Look, it looks like the guy got bigger. So now, the original 2, what do you do with the original 2? They get the death penalty. They have to die a very sad death. They got lost. And you designated new ones instead of them. Yamusu kula, and everybody dies. Yiru. The concept of Yiru, Achistavu, you let them graze until they befall a mum, then you can redeem them. Because they hold that a chatos of the tzibur doesn't die. And Mela, over here also, shouldn't die. You're talking about Kohanim. Shana Kohanim Dikru Kahal. Something new now, a new concept. Their community, the Kohanim are a community, and therefore they bring the carbon. So if a Kohen is considered a community, so then it comes out that anytime, let's say the Kohen's community, the Leviim, Shapsi Cohen and all these and his friends, they do a chet, they're going to have to bring their own parallel davar. You'll say, yeah. Oh, yeah, why not? Yeah, they did it on Vera. Based on the Sanhedrin, they should bring their own. Then you have more than 12 Shvatim. Now you have 13. You have Kohanim also. You have all the Shvatim plus Kohanim. No, because we're going to take out the Kohanim plus the Levim we're going to get rid of. So then we have another problem. We have a reverse problem. How do you ever get to 12? You just took out Levi also. We have to see the end of the pasuk, very important, especially when it says, this is the end of the pasuk, which is neged to us. The kahal amim, in order to be a community, you have to have achuz, you have to have land. I probably should have, maybe, Dave, you can't do it. Well, I don't know. Where's Kobe? Kobe can. He has a computer. We're not going to go through the whole thing. Was that in English here when I said I challenged him?
Yeah, last night, yeah.
No, last night. Is Hebrew or English? English, okay. Chazar, no, it's okay. No, I just wanted the word kahal in that pasuk to be highlighted. I think it will be important. Let's see how he does it, how fast he can do it. The kahal amim. No, the point is that you have to have property in order to be a nation. As the Gemara, the question that every kid in Cheder knows how to answer. If you get rid of Levi, now you only have 11 Shvatim. What do you do? Omar Abaya, Likahal. In order to be Likahal, Zarecha, you have land. Omar Abaya, Ephraim and Menashe, Kiruvim and Shimon Yuli. I didn't do the math, but somebody sent me, I just saw it this morning, that Ephraim and Menashe, do the math, is the same gematria as Kiruvim and Shimon, -1. So with the Koilo, you add the Koilo. You know about this?
Yeah.
Check it out. It is. Okay, how do you know? What is it then?
I don't remember the number.
But you remember seeing this?
My Rebbe teacher challenged us to do it, and it comes out the same.
Okay. Amrava, Voksiv, Al Shem Achem, Yikoru Ben Achlan. In other words, just like Reuben and Shimon are a Shevet, so too are Ephraim and Menashe. So now we have 12. With Ephraim and Menashe, we have 12. Instead of one Yosef, we have Ephraim and Menashe, which equals 12. L'nachlo kshu. Ask the Gemara, but that's great. You're right. Al sheim achem yikar v'nachlosim. That they get nachlo, they get the portion in Eretz Yisrael. But that's l'nachlo kshu v'lo l'davar acher. That's great for nachlo, but not for anything else. Not for paralel davar. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? It's not a. They're not considered two shvatim for anything else. V'chalukim b'dgalim. So it's one off, and with the kailul. That's what he said with the kailul. He said it's one off. It's pretty cool. Ephraim and Menashe kiru. It's with the kaf, with the chaf, with the 20 in the beginning. No. Reuben and Shimon and Ephraim and Menashe are the same.
Similar.
It's ki. It's kimat. Oh, sponsors. Hold on a second before we do sponsors. What is I looking for over here? Oh, the golem here. This I didn't even show yesterday. I guess the ram. The ram is Menashe. Okay, it's even on his degel. This is not accurate because they don't have their own degel. Ephraim has theirs. The bull. Okay.
Ease now, easy. Just calm down.
I don't know. I can't. I'm not good with the sounds. The noise. It's too much noise for me. Says the Gemara, one answer is that you don't look at degel, that they get their own flag, as something special. That's included in their nachla. Once you get nachla, you get a degel, you get a flag, okay. Another pshat is, so what does that mean? Because if you look over here, there's only really four, not like he depicted it, that Menashe gets there's four flags. East, west, north, and south. Four flags. Now, if Ephraim and Menashe wouldn't get their flag, then it would be off, this beautiful symmetry, this 3-3-3, they would be off. So to have it nice, to give it covet, it should have a good shape, a good aesthetically appealing. Thank you. They gave them a flag. As the Gemara of Chalukim B'Nisim.
That it was Yaakov Avinu's instructions that Levi should be in the middle, but that he should carry the Ariel.
Okay, but what does that have to do with covet of the degel?
I'm just saying that it's not that it was to keep the symmetry, it's because that was the instructions to begin with.
Right, but I'm just trying to explain the word covet. What is covet?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm saying that's not the reason why.
He's saying Yaakov Avinu instructed the Levi should be in the center, and then you had to have the okay.
That it's not both. So
Fine.
Make it nice.
No, not really. Okay, fine. Sponsors. Yeah. Sponsored by Adar Global, specialist in international financial services, by Ariel Simon. He stepped it up for this Shabbaton, stepped it up for the Shabbaton last year. There are givers, but just a few of them. Anonymous, L'zecher Nishmas Reb Chaim ben Reb Elazar Ashkenazi. Anonymous, in gratitude to Reb Eli and MDY for promoting Achdus Yisrael and Ahavas Yisrael. Yishur Koyach. Oh, here's that picture. I was talking about. There's one that they're sitting and watching. One more. This is the chevra in, what is it called over there? Where's West Hampstead? Yeah, that is Yitzi. That's Yitzi all the way on the right. Givaldik. And Glenn is the one with the white T-shirt that says 8-minute daf on it. Who's Zeitlin? Which one? Oh, with the orange shirt. That's him. And who's his father? And here they are. It's really cool. To me, it's inspiring. Sitting and watching the daf, Givaldik stuff. Okay. No, just it's another element of MDY. Another Givaldik. Zog the Gemara. V'chalukim B'Nisim, Ephraim and Menashe have different nasis. So that each nasi could get covered. That's why we count them. The Sanya Shlomo also Shivim Chanukah. When they inaugurated the Beis Hamikdash, he had 7 days because they weren't bringing all the karbanos. That Shlomo didn't do. But in the Torah, why is it 12? We know that whole arichas in the Torah, everything is all to give honor to the Nisim. At the end of the day, when you have a partnership in a chatos and one of the people dies, do you bring it or not? Is it considered chatos shemesu v'leil? Toshma. Oh, so now we're going to go through these a little slower, but fast, because it's serious. There are 5 types of chatos that must die without being brought as a carbon. Vlad chatos, the offspring of a female chatos. She got pregnant after she became chatos. The offspring, there's no eitzah for it. It's, on the one hand, it's part of a chatos. On the other hand, it wasn't designated as a chatos. It must die. Utmur is chatos. What's tmura? This is the old one, Rabbi Isai. A person has an animal, designates it as a carbon. And then it realizes it's a little skinny. It's not something he wants to bring to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He wants a much, much larger one. Oh, look at this big one. Big zaftig one. So that's tmura. So you would think that's a big mitzvah what he did. No, it's a big avero. So if you do that to a chatos, it dies. That's the one we're talking about. Here's the new one. It made that a carbon, fine. If the owner dies before he was able to bring it, the animal dies. And as we saw before, when it ran away, so you lost it for a moment, so you brought another chatos, you got a kapara from the new one, then you found the old one dies. And a chatos that's older than a year old must die. Now the Gemara says like this. There is no offspring of a carbon chatos of the tzibur. Shein tzibur mafrish in the keva. Oh, it's impossible for a zachar, although in America it's possible, but usually a zachar cannot have a child. They use a zachar. So let's go to the list. Hold on a second. Check this out. The top one is it's not on the chart when it comes to a tzibur, because it's a zachar. Doesn't apply. Next. You can't say the next one on the list. Why? And the third one, the top 3, do not apply to a community. Because a community doesn't die, we said. She'ein tzibur mesim. The community doesn't die. Even if they all die, they don't die. A community doesn't die. Now, the bottom 2, what do we do with those 2? The whole tzibur got a kapara on a chatos. It got lost, they brought another one, and then they found the original. Or, the one that they designated became 2 years old. What do you do? Maybe they should die. Let's learn the 2 on the bottom from the 3 on the top. It doesn't apply to the community. The bottom 2 also. It's only spoken about a yachid and not a tzibur. As the Gemara, the top 3 is impossible, but the bottom 2 are possible. Why would I learn something that's possible from something that's impossible? Says the Gemara, all 5 came from the same source, from the Rebbeinu Shalom to Moshe Rabbeinu and Har Sinai. So they're all said together in the same way. So if the top 3 don't apply, so all 5 don't apply. Hadran Allah Chayru Bezdin, Hadran Allah Chayru Bezdin, Hadran Allah Chayru Bezdin. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.